Bargain hunter, yeah, because I'm fucking broke.
No.
And this whole thing is funded by me.
All of this?
Everything in here is for the show. I bought all.
Are you trying to monetize this yet?
No.
You need sponsors, right? You need ads.
Right. So in order for me to monetize at the moment, I would have to find my own sponsors and stuff like that, and then just create my own ad reads and whatever and put them on there. But as far as getting sponsored by like Spotify or YouTube, I can't, because you have to have X amount of views per day and all this other stuff. You have to meet a bunch of requirements in order to even be eligible for monetization.
Wow. Plus,
I guarantee YouTube would never give it to me because I talk about whatever I want, and like I don't filter anything, and I've already had, that one ding once that I still have never gone and done their reprogramming for. So yeah, I would have to find my own sponsors, which I would prefer anyway. Mm-hmm. I would prefer it that way, because then I'm not dependent on.
You're not selling things you don't believe in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Me and Rachel were actually just talking about that the other day, about, doing ads and stuff like that. And that I don't want to do an ad and try to sell something that I don't know anything about. So I'll have to find sponsors for shit that I actually use on a daily basis.
And you probably don't have a lot of local stuff you use.
I mean, not necessarily, no, but that's the other thing, is I could go out like to local coffee shops, like the one that we go to, stuff like that.
Maybe talk to massages.
Maybe.
Do you advertise for her?
No, not yet. Maybe at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, relationships are tricky.
That they are.
But I'm learning as I get older to, if somebody says, hey, I can't be with you for X, Y, or Z, you just believe them. Instead of trying to convince them or trying to apologize and change yourself, because I can tell you in 44 years, there's certain things I'm not changing. I'm improving, but I'm not changing.
Right.
The triggers that come up for me in a relationship are not changing.
Yeah.
My reaction to those triggers is improving. So eventually, if all the stars align, I will find somebody that just says, I can accept that you're improving. You're working on yourself. Right. It's good enough.
Yeah.
I've not found that yet.
Yeah, I have, but it's still difficult,
Which part? You dealing with you or them dealing with you?
Yes.
Yeah. I actually am also to the age where I don't want to put them through. If I can see that I'm stressing them out on a regular basis, I don't want that.
Yeah. I don't know. I prefer not, but as
you're like, you still do.
As someone told me that it's not my decision to manage whether or not they're stressed. Yeah. So kind of is what it is, but yeah, I mean, I see exactly what you're saying. I agree. It sucks, and the whole thing of learning to manage yourself, because that's kind of what I'm starting to figure out is I got my own triggers that I've been dealing with my whole friggin' life, and I've always been trying to fix them and figure out how to change them. And I don't know if that's possible. I'm getting to a point where it's like, well, if I can't fix them, then how do I deal with them? Well, I have to learn how to not react to stuff and just let it go.
You know what's wild to me is when you tell somebody what your triggers are going to be, and what you're going to do with those triggers, and they're like, yeah. And then when it happens, they're like, whoa.
Yeah, right.
Like I told you from the get-go. This is exactly how it would go down.
Yeah. What did you think? I was lying?
I think so. I can't wait till I get to the point where I show up without charm. Because that mask I've been putting on for so long, I don't actually know how to take it off.
Yeah.
When I first meet somebody. Obviously, I take it off when I get to know somebody.
Yeah.
When I first meet them, I'm like, I'm shiny and new. I'm fun. And they're like, oh, you're shiny and new and fun. Yeah, and I say, and while I'm shiny and new and fun, I'm like, but I'm also a train wreck. And they're like, they don't believe you.
Well, it's hard to believe it when that's not the case at first.
Yeah.
And it sucks because you don't want to lie to them, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
I've told people with conviction, listen, this is what we'll go through. I have disorganized attachment style, so I know what that means. Let me explain it to you. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you get too close to me and I feel suffocated and I push you away. And then you go too far because you feel rejected. And then I get nervous and anxious. And so then I'm clawing at you to come back and I'm chasing you. But then you come in too close, you know? So like disorganized is like, I just need you at this perfect space. Not too close, not too far. And it's completely determined by my comfort level at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
at the time being that
at
day,
that moment,
that hour?
at that moment, just whatever the emotional turmoil that's going on right then.
Yeah.
I could say, listen, I need space right now. I just need to know when you're going to come back. We will totally address this later. I can't right now. I'm going to, explode. And then if they said, yeah, okay, I know you need space. I'll be back. How about we deal with this in 4 hours? I'll go off and do some stuff and whatever. Perfect.
Yeah.
Instead, they come back and they're like, well, I have this and this going on. You're like, you just got to just listen. We can talk about this later, Yeah. And then it becomes a tug of war and one that I always lose.
But that's that thing. That's that thing that we always talk about where, they don't give a shit. And that's not...
and they can't.
Right.
Well, I shouldn't say it like that, but...
It's not
kind of the empathy thing. It's I just want to be validated and then that's it. Just say, that looks real.
Right.
That must suck and I'll be back.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. And it's not disparaging. It's not to say like, oh, women are fucking dumb. They didn't know. It's just literally how we're wired to work. They can't empathize for us. They don't have the ability to do that.
I'm still trying.
Yeah. And it's not a problem. It's not a problem. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that because that's how it's supposed to work. But people like you and me, where we look for that validation where we aren't going to get it, then that's where we run into problems.
Which is crazy because if things are good and they're in a good mental space and they're loving towards you,
yeah,
they're absolutely like, oh, that must be really hard when you go through that. And it's like, yeah, it is.
Right.
But that's not when it's the most impactful. The most impactful empathy is when I'm going through it. When I'm putting you through it.
Right.
Can you empathize then?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they can't empathize typically in the moment. And that's not all women. I'm not saying that like all of them across the board don't have it's very different for each and every single one of them. But
there's no all men statements either.
Exactly.
You couldn't put me in any all man category.
Yeah, me neither. But I mean, that's how it works. And so knowing how it works, it's like, they're not going to care that you stubbed your toe when you stub your toe. In fact, they'll probably laugh. And I have a great story about that you've probably heard. I've told it before. But, afterwards, they might think about it, and be like, oh, I'm sorry, here's a Band-Aid, because that's just how they work.
But not with their children.
Exactly.
It's very different.
Exactly. Yeah. Not with their children because
they go into crisis nurturing mode.
Right.
But not with a man.
Right. And that's because they're not our mommy and they're not supposed to nurture us and all that. Like, that's not what they're there for.
I hear what you're saying, but I haven't lived that out just yet. I kind of, because subconsciously, your subconscious is way stronger than your conscious mind.
Yeah.
And mine still says,
right,
my mom didn't give me this. I need you to give it to me.
Right. Yeah.
And that's like the biggest battle. So it's like, maybe that's never going to go away internally, but I have to just react differently to it. But I still want it.
Yeah.
I still want to suck that teat.
Yeah. I think it's a thing like that a lot of people, especially a lot of men nowadays, especially are looking for. And it's like, you're not going to get it, and it just kind of is what it is. So like you said, learning how to manage your reaction to it, because unfortunately that's how a lot of us are wired now.
Suck it up. Don't feel.
Yeah. When it starts that early in life and it just gets hardwired in there, like it's probably not going to go away, and you just have to learn how to deal with it.
Which is,
I have a problem with that too.
It is refreshing to be to a certain spot where you don't care about losing somebody. You don't want to.
Right.
But I'm not going to be somebody else just so you'll stay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I've been in that argument too. And that's something I think about more too. It's like, I care about you, so I don't want you to have to deal with me. And if you want to stick around, cool, then I appreciate that. And that means a lot to me. But I'm also, if shit's just going to constantly go south, it's not that I don't love you and it's not that I don't care, but I would rather just not keep living this life every day if we can't fix it. And I say we, but it's really me, if you can't handle me, that's okay. I'm aware that I'm a lot, and I don't blame you.
And unfortunately, the way you said that is in a moment when they are receptive and they could listen to that.
It's never
not the way
it's
it goes
never
down.
in a moment if they're receptive and can listen to it. At least not in the moment when you're in the middle of an argument and you're both charged, especially them, because when you're in that place, again, they can't comprehend it.
But sometimes in that moment though, I'm able to articulate what's going on inside of me.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But they still can't hear it.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, this is like, I'm in this freeze state right now. I'm trying to say things that are, appropriate. I'm also trying to control my, feedback, and I'm doing all these things, but I'm on fire inside. Imagine I'm on fire.
Yeah.
So I can't be all that constructive right now while I'm on fire.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm probably the most honest when I'm angry because, well, I don't want to say that because a lot of shit will come out that's just mean because I don't know what I'm saying half the time.
And
but there's also truth in there.
Yeah, always.
My raw feelings will come through also with a lot of other mean, hurtful shit. Unfortunately.
But you don't believe that you always need to tell the truth, right? Everything you're feeling doesn't need to come out.
I mean, I would say no. And based on the fact that women don't want to be our mommies and they don't want to have to fucking deal with our shit. They just want to know that they're safe and secure and taken care of. I mean, yeah,
They're looking for the dad they never had while we're looking for the mom we never had. What a pair.
Right? Yeah. I mean, that's pretty toxic.
It is what it is.
I don't know if that would necessarily be a great relationship.
It could be fun. Think of how typical that is.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of women out there with daddy issues and a lot of men with mommy issues.
Yeah. And daddy issues.
And daddy
I got
issues.
both. I got the double whammy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, it doesn't sound fun.
No. Well, it is fun for a time.
For a time, yeah.
Because that codependency does create quite the bond, quite the glue. And quite the magnetization, because you're trying to get something so desperately that you can't have.
Yeah.
They can't give it to you, but you want it so bad you chase it hard.
Yeah, but I mean, you could liken that to, putting two popsicle sticks together with super glue and then putting it in a vise, to help set it. But then you keep turning the vise and you keep turning the vise, hoping that it's going to just be stronger and stronger. And eventually the wood just splits apart and explodes.
What's the vise?
It's too much pressure.
In this metaphor, what's the vise?
What's the vise? It's a good fucking question.
No, I'm serious. I'm assuming the glue sticks are the people.
The glue sticks would be the people.
So
so you could say that the fact that you both have issues would be the glue or the bonding agent.
Mm-hmm.
But then both of you trying to solve those issues either in each other or even just on your own is the vice. That's the pressure that just keeps building. So I don't know. Maybe that makes sense.
No, it does. I mean, tension is a real thing.
Yeah.
And tension does grow. And the more suppression that there is too, the more tension. I could see that snapping.
Yeah. It gets to be too much. And then before you know it, boom, And I mean, you can keep putting the pieces back together.
Have you ever heard somebody say to you that they're addicted to you?
No. I've never heard anybody say that. So maybe something similar. I've heard somebody tell me once that they have a really hard time saying no to me and they hate it because they don't understand why. I didn't understand that either, but whatever.
That's some control, some power.
Yeah, which is weird because I'm not a control person. At least I don't think I am. I never would tell anybody like what they can or can't do, who they can and can't hang out with. Like I don't dig through somebody's phone. If you want to go out till 2 a.m. with the girls and go, hang out at the bar or whatever, I don't care. I don't care if some guy is hitting on you, like whatever. I mean, I care if I'm there and some guy's hitting on you and he keeps fucking doing it. And then you give me the eyeballs of like, will you please get this guy to go away? And I go over there and I say, hey, how's it going? You want to go somewhere else? And then the dude keeps doing it. Like, yeah, I care in that instance. But as far as like jealousy, I don't get jealous. And the whole reason for that is I think I used to have a really bad jealousy problem, but then I got to learn about things and I was like, people are going to do whatever they're going to do. And there's really nothing you can do about it. If the other person has respect for you, or they're at least of character to some degree and substance, then they're not going to do anything that you have to worry about. So really, if a woman goes and looks for it somewhere else, you're definitely doing something wrong. And not even just physical. For them, it's more emotional. So if your lady is talking to some other dude on an emotional level about stuff, you're really fucking up. And 9 times out of 10, in my belief, is that the physical will also come after that if you don't nip it in the butt and do something about it. But I mean, yeah, I don't get jealous. I don't worry about it.
No, but the common theme I kept hearing in my head during both sides, whether the girl be doing it or another random dude, is just disrespect. You don't have a problem with jealousy per se, but you do have a problem with disrespect. Whether your woman's disrespecting you, whether the guy's disrespecting her, whether somebody else is disrespecting you, that's like the common beef.
I do. Yeah. Yeah. Disrespect is actually.
Yeah. So clearly if your woman's going out and dealing with that stuff on her own and you don't have to worry about her, she's not disrespecting you. She's respecting you. The other guy might be disrespecting her, but you wouldn't know it if you weren't there.
Right.
But I could totally see if you saw it saying something. I would too. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Even if I was going to lose the fight, I'd say it.
Yeah.
I'd have to.
Right. And that's what I'm talking about. And that's my respect for her, is that even though I know this guy might punch my fucking teeth in, if she's giving me those I need your help eyes, I'm going to walk over there and I'm going to say something to the guy. And I'm going to be polite at first until it's time to not be polite. And then I might get my ass kicked. I might not, but I'm still going to do it because she doesn't want to have to deal with that guy.
Well, you still haven't.
Or we'll just leave. I don't know.
Yeah. Avoidance in those situations, I hear, is the best. That's what I hear. I used to talk myself into situations and then either friends would help me out or I'd talk myself out.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have any issues with confrontation per se, but I do try to like find the best way around taking a fist in the face, you know?
When you think about booze, it takes away your fear.
Oh yeah.
You don't have fear.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If I'm hammered fucking drunk, then there's no wall. There's nothing there. It's like, motherfucker, what's your problem? You know?
So hopefully they're a little slower than you are at that moment.
Yeah. Maybe I'll buy him another drink first.
Yeah.
Get him a little bit on my level.
Hey, by the way, before I tell you how much I don't like you talking to my girl, I really want to buy you a drink.
Yeah. Which, I mean, if you look at things, if you look at things in terms of like warfare and strategy, right? Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. I mean, hey, that's not necessarily a bad idea, because if you break that tension first by like, hey, how's it going? Let me buy you a drink, you know? And then you buy him a drink and then you guys are cool for a minute. You're like, hey, I noticed you're over here talking to my woman, like, and she's taken. I don't appreciate that. So how about you just go on and find somebody else? And it could go your way. It could not go your way. It doesn't matter, because you could also look at it as, by doing that, buying the guy a drink, you've now lowered yourself, you know? And so that guy doesn't respect you at all. I
still think that avoidance is okay. I think in a survival situation at a bar, you're just trying to have a good time. Yeah.
You are, yes, but I don't know. I'm an overthinker, so I'm overanalyzing everything.
I mean, the only time, I probably already talked about this on the podcast, but the one time I stuck up, two times, but one, I stuck up for this girl because this dude that was this huge dude that owned a bar. I knew who he was, but he was already smashed when we got there, was touching the small of her back and, you know, kind of encroaching. And it was like my first get together with her. So it felt weird to me. And so when she went to go to the bathroom, I said, hey, are you cool with all this? Like with, you know, him touching you and all that. And she said, no, absolutely not. This is so uncomfortable. So she went to the bathroom. I went to the guy. I was like, hey, dude, Bob, hey, this is my first get together with this girl. Like, would you mind just, you know, laying off a little bit, give me a little space?
Yeah. Chill out there, Turbo.
She came back and he proceeded to keep touching her. And I let it go for a bit, and then I just lost it. I was like, Bob, stop touching her. She doesn't want you to touch her. Stop disrespecting her, you know? And then he got up and went and got this other dude that was bigger than him. And his name was Scott. And I knew him. Oh, I don't need to be naming names. Jeez. But anyway, he grabs this big dude. Scott's just an alias anyway. Brings him over to me. And then now the other guy's interviewing me like, what's the problem here? And she needs to be fighting her own battles. And why are you sticking in here for her when she should be able to say, I don't want you touching me or whatever. I was like, take away all that, all the rules that you're laying down on me right now. I just asked him to show her some respect. She doesn't want him touching her.
Yeah.
So regardless of who's asking, still disrespectful. So then he wanted to throw down right then. And so I stood up and held my arms out. I was like, you're 3 times my size. I mean, do your worst. I mean, like if this is what you need to do to feel good tonight about me asking for a little respect. And then he grabbed his buddy and they walked out. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. Which is stupid and crazy in and of itself. Because, I mean, if you break that down, right? Well, she should be fighting her own fucking battles. Blah, blah, blah. No. Like, if she was going to do that, she would have already done that. Right? Because not to say that any woman can't stand up for herself.
She was a shy girl, too.
Right. But, I mean, if she was going to do that, she would have already done that. Or she would have said something, you know, to put that message across like, yeah, I don't appreciate that. Please stop. But obviously she didn't. Why did she not do that? Well, probably because she was worried about the same response that you got, which is the dude goes and gets some other fucking guy, which he did that for you, right? Because you're a guy and you can fight. And obviously you already said something, so you're not worried about confronting them, right? So that's their response to you being confrontational. Whereas that's what she was worried about more than likely. And she may not have been consciously thinking it, but subconsciously she's worried about like, well, if this asshole is already being inappropriate, what's he going to do if I go and tell him to leave me the hell alone? Right. So that's.
Whereas replay, I could have bought him a drink, moved her seat.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Instead, I was hyped up. Also, it wasn't a determined date. So I didn't know like.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know what my parameters were. She also brought another friend.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, I don't think it matters, honestly. I think even if you and those 2 gals were just friends, right? And that's all it was. It wasn't a date or anything. I think you were still in the right and you did the right thing of saying something. Hey, she's uncomfortable. Please knock it off, right? Because you are there together as, you know, almost like she's your guest or something like, you know what I mean? So, but I don't know. I just look at it in, you know, they say chivalry's dead. Well, I mean, it's not. It's just because of, and I've brought this up a million times, because of fucking radical feminism, most men these days are afraid to say something, even though they know they should, because they're worried about a woman coming back on them like, I don't need you to fucking do this for me, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. Fuck it.
Fast forward, I just ran into her 3 years later.
That same gal?
Yeah. And she looked great, but she was pregnant and she had another baby. So she had, since then, the reason she wouldn't go out with me is because she was still like thinking about her leaving her marriage. She used to, like, she didn't wear a wedding ring for a long time and stuff. And, you know, she was pretty much checked out, but she was still kind of holding the family together.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was just like, I'm not ready yet. And then she got a hold of me and said, okay, I'm ready to go out, but let me bring my friend. Okay, cool. And then fast forward, she had 2 other babies with a new guy that she married. And I just thought, that's really awesome for you. But I was so glad that wasn't me.
Yeah.
That had 2 more babies with another woman.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just interesting because I saw her as something that I wanted to pursue.
Right.
As somebody that I wanted to pursue, not knowing that she wanted to be married and domesticated and have more children. And I was in a totally different phase of life.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting looking in hindsight, realizing that those weren't matches for me.
Yeah.
And that should be one of the first questions.
When you're in the dating
What do you
world?
want out of this?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where do you want this to end up? Oh, what? I'd love to be married again. I'd love to maybe have a kid or 2 more. Okay, we're not a fit.
Yeah. Because knowing that going into it, you probably would have been like,
Wasn't what I was thinking. I was thinking she was
you know
cute.
what? Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah. It's just interesting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's doesn't seem to be a question that many people ask anymore.
No, but it should come up pretty early on in the conversations.
Yeah. But that's, I mean, that goes into
religion, politics, family orientation.
Right.
Sexual orientation would be nice. Gender identity, which I just read online that there's now, as of 2024, there are 107 different gender identities.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
107.
Yeah. That's a whole bag in and of itself. The last podcast with Charlie, we went through a whole bunch of stuff like that around those lines. The people identifying as whatever the fuck they want.
And changing the English language.
Yeah.
And did you watch Matt Walsh's What is a Woman?
No, I mean to. I need to. Yeah. But no, I haven't watched it. Good.
Nobody can answer it.
Well, yeah.
Nobody can answer it.
It's
not nobody, but nobody on the left can answer it. Because they'll say a woman is a woman. Okay, well, what is that?
Yeah, but what is that?
It's whatever you want it to be. Well, then why are we using that word?
Yeah.
Why is the staple for what a woman is a dress, long hair, jewelry, and makeup? Why is that the staple for what a woman is? So they're still building their idea of what a woman is based on a woman that was a woman.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
A biological, full-on woman. And they're now replicating it and still can't answer the question. Even though they're replicating somebody that was a very traditional heterosexual woman.
Yeah.
Biologically. And anyway, so it's interesting because if you're going to identify as something and make it whatever you want it to be, why does it have to look like a 1950s woman or whatever? Why can't it look like,
well, yeah.
Why can't you do it like an alien or something? I mean, why is it,
I mean, I don't want to get too far down this road because I feel like it just keeps coming up now on like every episode, but I think that the whole idea of, what a woman is, putting on high heels and a skirt and all this, like that's not what it is. That's the personality of that person and what that person wants to wear. A dude can wear high heels and a skirt, right?
Correct.
Doesn't make them a woman either. It has nothing to do with that. If you were born with a vagina, you're a woman. If you were born with a dick, you're a man. That's all there is to it. What did you come out of the womb as? That's what you are. Now, who you are as a person, the kind of clothes you like to wear, the kind of music you listen to, what you like to do when you're by yourself at 1 a.m. in your own bed alone, that's your personality. Okay. That doesn't change whether or not you're a man or a woman. If you do it with a vagina, you're a woman.
So I guess that just brings up, why aren't they changing the name of it then?
What do you
call
mean?
it something else? Make up a new word.
Oh, yeah.
Why does it have to be woman?
Just give it time. They will. Just give it time. They keep making up new words and changing everything else. So, I mean, that's coming.
There's new words?
I'm sure they're already saying that, gender is just a construct, which is horseshit. Okay. Like, no, there's been gender since the beginning of fucking time. And we didn't have a problem with any of it up until just recently within the last several years. Why all of a sudden is it such a big problem when it hasn't been until now? It is what it is. This goes into another thing that comes up all the time, which is, basically people with mental problems who can't accept reality and what things are. And so you're trying to change the world around you to bend to your reality. And it's horseshit.
Okay, well, let's do the podcast.
We're already in it, my friend.
What? You didn't even introduce me. I don't want any of the gender stuff. I mean, I know it gets people fired up, and I don't care to change anybody's mind on it. I find it to be an interesting conversation.
It is an interesting conversation. It's just, the only reason why I'm shoving it off is because, like I said, I feel like it's been...
it is a hot topic.
It's been a huge hot topic, at least on my show. So I was thinking about that earlier, either today or yesterday or something, after the last one with Charlie. And I was like, man, that's got to be like the third fucking time that has come up just with him.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about people with mental issues and stuff before, and like, well, all the fucking people running around with butt plug cattails and thinking that they're kitty cats and blah, blah, blah. So
do they actually have butt plug cattails?
Yeah, they do.
Really?
Do some Googling, or don't. I don't know. Turn on your privacy filter.
That seems like it'd be uncomfortable.
I don't know, man.
Wow.
No idea. I've never had a cattail butt plug, so I couldn't tell you if it's comfortable or not, but it's interesting. Like I said, whatever you're into at 1 a.m. when you're in bed alone, I mean, that's just your personality.
So what the biggest drastic change is now we're trying to take what goes on at 1 a.m. or take it out to the public.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like nobody has any shame anymore, right? We want everything to be normal, to be classified as normal. So the shit that people used to do at 1 a.m. alone in bed with the thought of like, oh my God, if anybody knew, oh Jesus, right? But now that's just coming out into the forefront. And cool, it's good to be honest and be honest with yourself, but there's some shit that doesn't need to be fucking talked about. Not with everyone and anyone. Like, do your thing. And if you want to talk about it honestly, I don't care, but stop trying to make everybody else on the planet bend around you. I'm not okay with that. If you want to have a fucking cattail butt plug, you go right ahead. But when you're at work at Walmart in the middle of the fucking day, take it out or hide it. I want to see a fucking person. I don't want to see a kitty cat. I want to know who I'm talking to, can form normal fucking sentences, and tell me, where the hell do I find the popcorn?
Meow. I've been hearing a lot about this too. It is frustrating, and I will just plead the fifth for the rest of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
And I'm a parent. You know, I've got lots of kids, so I guess there's...
Well, yeah, I can see from that point of view. Yeah, I mean,
you no longer are. You are the greatest influence in their life as their parent, but then there's a lot of other influences as well.
Yeah, and see that. I mean, there's an angle we can look at. It's like having to deal with that stuff as a parent, you know, because you worry about how your kids are going to turn out, and we all want their kids to grow up and be doctors and lawyers, or at least happy with who they are, right? So
that would be nice.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, as a parent, that's something to worry about. Are your kids going to, you know, is your son going to cut his dick off and start going around as Chandra, you know, or is he just going to be Kevin and get married, have some kids, whatever? Yeah, I get that. But there's nothing that necessarily you can do about that, because the problem is that it's being pushed on everyone, you know, especially kids, because they're already confused. They have no idea what they want to begin with. And then they start going into colleges and stuff, and they're staying in dorms where you've got people that are telling them, oh, you have to be accepting of everyone. You have to respect everybody's feelings. It gets so fucking frustrating having to walk around on eggshells literally everywhere in life, having to worry about every single person's feelings and pronouns and other fucking bullshit. That really is none of your fucking business. It's not for me.
They're bringing in legal ramifications, though, if you don't, you know, conform in a lot of ways. And I've heard Canada is even worse.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're, what is it, California now? If you don't, it doesn't matter how old your kid is. They could be 5 years old, and if you don't affirm their gender identity, if your 5-year-old comes in playing with your 5-year-old son comes in playing with Barbies and says that he thinks he's a girl, if you don't affirm that,
it's abuse.
Then it's abuse.
Yep.
And the state can take your fucking kids away. That's horseshit. He's fucking 5. He has no idea what he wants. Let him play with Barbies. Eventually, he might decide he hates Barbies and start playing with G.I. Joes or something else, you know? But that doesn't mean that he's a woman. It doesn't mean that he's gay or anything else.
If he said he was Superman, we wouldn't throw him off the roof.
No shit, right? If he came in wearing a red cape and said, oh, I'm Superman.
Which they do all the time. Then they're unicorns. Then they're this or that, yeah.
Yeah. But what do you tell him? I mean, yeah, of course you feed into it a little bit, but when he tries to jump off the roof, you're like, dude, you can't fly. You're not Superman. Like, we really like Superman. He's great, but you can't fly. So please don't jump off the roof.
But what a great movie, The Boy Who Could Fly. Do you remember that old one?
Yeah. I haven't seen that for a long time.
It's probably terrible. It's probably terrible if I watched it today, but I remember really liking it back then.
I'm pretty sure it was an old Disney movie. Yeah.
I didn't know if he ended up having a mental issue or if he really could fly in the movie. I can't remember if it was like imagination or reality.
I think by the end of the movie, it turns out he really could fly.
Okay. But he was like an autistic boy, right?
Yeah.
Didn't speak much.
Right. And everybody thought he was nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then it turned out he could fly.
Story of my life. I can fly, bitches.
Right. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
I can do anything better than you.
Facts. True.
So you were recently in a play.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my God, my mind just broke.
I was in a play for the Lake City Playhouse.
That's right. Lake City Playhouse, and it was Oliver.
Yeah, and you're allowed to say that you were there because you were.
Exactly. Yeah.
You did come.
That's right. So I could, well, I mean, I guess it's not going anymore, but I could plug it. Oliver. It was actually really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the whole purpose. Even if we sucked as actors or we didn't have our, whole shit together or anything, it was still entertaining. I heard that from almost everybody that it was entertaining.
That even though you didn't have your shit together?
No, they didn't say that. They didn't say it. But I'm saying, when I go to watch something, if I am, what do you call it when you're like into it? If I'm, if I'm
intellectually invested,
like if I'm entranced,
yeah.
If I'm entranced and it's entertaining, it doesn't matter the quality of the content. I mean, yeah, essentially it doesn't matter the skill level. I guess why I'm saying that's like a pre-qualification because this was a new venture for me. So I didn't know how I'd do at it. Right. And I did progressively get better as the shows went on. Yeah. But the first one was a doozy.
Because this was the first one that you've ever done, right? You've never done
a
play or a production or movies or anything. Like this is the first time.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel somewhat guilty saying no that I haven't, acted or entertained because I have done that for my career as a photographer for 24 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say that's the same thing though.
It's not the same thing, but
you're holding up a stuffed puppy to, make a kid smile so you can get the right photo.
You got the wrong guy. I put a cattail on. No, I'm just kidding.
You got the cattail butt plug in the ears?
No, I've used various voices. I've had, 20 different voices, and to make people laugh, I've entertained them.
Yeah.
And so I've essentially for work, I've put on a mask. And so I feel like it's very similar. The only difference is it's less intimate for me to go on a stage and have stage lights blinding me. There's 150 people out there watching you. That's a lot less intimate to me than making one person entertained that's looking at me in the daylight and we're having a one-on-one.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah, I could see that. That definitely would be less intimate.
So this felt like a more of a release for me. Like I just didn't have to hold back. I could just go all out because it didn't matter who was out there. I didn't really see people watching me. I noticed a couple faces in the audience, and that was always scary to me. When the stage lights, I don't know what was different, but sometimes I could see the entire first two rows, and I hated that.
I was about to ask, can you actually see the audience at all?
The first two rows.
Or are the lights in your face so much?
They're in your face a lot. Like if you're looking over the front two rows, you can't see anything.
Oh,
you can barely see shapes, which is great. Because it's, if you think about it, if I could picture Dave out there watching me, I might get embarrassed. I might get caught up. It might throw me off my game,
It's a good thing you didn't picture that because I was out there.
I know. I didn't picture anybody out there actually until after the show. And then I was like, oh, that's so cool. You saw it. But if I had let that get in my head, I would have been in trouble.
Yeah, I can see that.
Brandon Underdown.
Yeah, right.
That was just a shout out for you, man. But yeah, Brandon, he's not a guy that I would have pictured, would ever be an actor on a stage doing theater or musicals.
Right.
But a lot of these masculine men that I know would say, actually, I would love to try that. They would say that now. Now, I wouldn't guess that people would have that take, but apparently, it looks like something liberating that people would like to try.
Yeah, but I think you're looking at that in a sense of what you could brand as toxic masculinity, where we look at something like that as being faggy or, why would you do something like that? So when you look at actual masculine men who are honest with themselves and everybody else, it's like, yeah, that looks like fun. I would totally like to do that. And especially, I think, personally, I think when it comes to, dudes with families and kids who are used to just doing wacky shit
with each other
and entertain their children, I would like to think that there's some degree of like second nature for that.
Yeah.
So, they wouldn't be as embarrassed to just go up there and fuck around.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess I don't see toxic masculinity. I don't think it's quite that, to that level that I was thinking of. It's more like when you get on a theater stage, there's a lot of feminine things that you are asked to do. Yeah. I mean, you could be playing a feminine role. So I guess, if I think back to the movie like Game Plan with The Rock.
I didn't see that one.
He's like a professional football player. Has this like bachelor pad, super contemporary mansion, has his life together, just party animal, great at what he does. Then a girl shows up to his door, a little girl, and says, "You're my daddy." And just changes his whole world. And first order of business is he has to start taking her to ballet classes.
Oh, yeah.
And then the instructor makes a deal with him that he has to participate. So then he enters into the dance or whatever, the play or the ballet with the daughter. And he's just playing the tree or whatever. But
okay,
his whole football team comes to watch him, and what they think they're going to make fun of him for being on stage doing ballet.
Right.
They end up all crying and loving it. And it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing. It's really funny.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about.
But that's kind of a classic example of a guy that, right off the bat, he's like, "There's no way I'm doing ballet. That's for girls." But he wanted to please his daughter, and he wanted to do something special with her. And
oh, this is what you're talking about?
Yep.
Fans, cool cars, and the kind of life anyone would envy. Until the day fate came to his
God, look how young he is.
My name is Peyton.
How old is this movie? It's like 2007.
Still good.
Oh, I think I have seen this, or at least parts of it.
Name's not on this. Joseph King.
Disney Pictures. He will demand discipline.
Oh, Disney. They're going to stop it now. They're going to kick me off. Yeah, I think I have actually seen at least part of that.
Yeah, it's now a classic, I think, especially when he does look that young.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I would just picture the way society treats, I guess, okay, well, let's just go backwards in time so maybe my statement actually came from high school when it was not cool to be on the drama team or to be in theater. It was not even a thing that was allowed if you wanted to be in anywhere in
right.
any kind of a cool club or even an okay club. You just didn't do drama, which is kind of unfortunate because I would have probably thrived in it and loved it.
Yeah,
but it was not a thing.
Right. If you weren't the quarterback or at least on the football team, then you weren't the cool kid or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I was second, third string on the basketball team, but you still you were still in the club.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of sad that, like, even when I think about my kids, they're not confident in themselves enough to be self-expressive and go join drama or choir or anything that's like artistic, creative freedom. And we've done that to them. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Because they're going to do what I did. I was so concerned my whole entire life with what people thought of me. My kids absorbed that.
Yeah. But I mean, to a point, you're setting an example now,
late. Yeah. Yeah.
Better late than never, but
no, I'm wild in front of my kids. Like, even, they bring their friends over and I don't hold back. I'm
nice,
dad joke central and just loud and, wild. And, they brought their friends to the theater. That was probably the biggest compliment that I had during the whole thing.
Nice.
Is that my kids brought their friends. Yeah. That was really cool. Really cool moment for me. But yeah, Lake City Playhouse, they hadn't had a play there in 4 years because they shut down from COVID, like most businesses. And then,
I remember we were there on opening night, and the gal.
Oh, she spoke about it.
Yeah, she did that whole.
Oh yeah,
it was like a half an hour speech about everything, which it's fine, but yeah, it was cool. It was interesting to hear just what she was talking about with getting everything going, and
the Playhouse flooded.
Yeah,
they were going to demolish that building.
Yeah, but I mean, how the community came together,
right?
And everybody donated this and helped with that, and so many people came out to just show support, and I thought that was awesome.
Yeah,
especially the local heating place that came in
the $65,000.
Yeah, $65,000
HVAC.
worth of HVAC equipment and set everything up for it. I mean, that's insane. That's huge.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a write off for them, but still,
No, they had a few donations that just kept the place alive, but
yeah,
it's pretty crazy. Brooke says, she probably said on stage that it saved her life. Theater saved her life when she was younger. And, I totally cried on the last show. Like before we had gone and done our bows, and I was like, holy crap, this was like really emotional for me because this is the last time I get to do this for right now.
Yeah. But so that's why you're crying, because that was the end.
It was the end, but it had changed my life too.
Yeah.
It had like opened up a part of me that I had never allowed at all, which freedom of expression is a huge, like, liberating thing in the human body. It's wild, especially if it's something you've suppressed for so long. And now I'm going back into the gender stuff, huh? So
I mean, kind of,
but I mean, if you've always wanted to be, I guess I could say an actor. You've always wanted to be an actor. You've always watched movies, but you just thought, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. So far off out of the realm of possibility, I'm just going to settle to be an accountant. And you go through your whole life and you just feel like something's missing, right? And then you go do that and you're like, man, your capacity is increased. What you thought you could accomplish is increased. And you're like, man, I could have been using the last 40 years to increase my capacity and increase my ceiling of the realm of possibilities. I don't believe you can do anything you want, but you certainly could have got in there and done some local theater and artistic expression is such a healing thing for most people.
Yeah. I mean, I think what you're talking about is like not even putting your name in the hat.
Right.
If you didn't even try,
or not, you don't even have to compete with the people in the hat. You're really just going out and putting it in your own hat. You're just creating your own hat.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to be on a large scale.
Yeah.
I love that, like, people like Hugh Jackman, as huge as they are as an actor and as a celebrity, they still love to go do like theater, musical theater.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's their like outlet.
Yeah. You see him on like Broadway or in the UK or something, just
and picturing the Wolverine, and doing ballet is crazy.
Right.
But he's not, it's, he'll do it.
Yeah.
Can you push pause?
We'll just go.
This is the 75 hard, man.
Yeah, no problem.
It's terrible. It's been a crutch. Watch it now.
Yeah, I'll probably put it on my list.
It's just one of those like feel good movies.
The Game Plan.
Yeah, and then there's the Tooth Fairy.
Oh yes, I have seen the Tooth Fairy at least once. I think there's a second one too, but I don't know that I saw that one.
What's this? Is that where he is a nanny? What's the nanny one? No, that's Vin Diesel. Sorry, Pacifier.
Yeah,
The Pacifier. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Same realm.
Yeah. Just Vin Diesel as a nanny. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, yeah, The Rock actually plays that role pretty good. And what was the jungle one he was in?
Oh, he was in the new Jumanji.
I love those.
Yeah,
They're so good.
I've only ever seen the original one with Robin Williams.
Oh, really? You've never seen the one with Kevin Hart and The Rock?
No,
So
I'm not a big like Kevin Hart fan.
Oh,
And I don't know, The Rock as like an action hero, like I can buy that, but it's just weird to think of him in Jumanji. I don't know. I'll probably watch it.
but those
I
two
haven't
together,
yet.
I love their dynamic.
Yeah, I don't know. Kevin Hart, he just kind of drives me nuts.
Did you ever see where they did an interview pretending to be each other?
No,
They swapped roles.
no.
It's freaking
Oh, now you look at
hilarious.
it, too.
Hilarious. Or the one where Tom Cruise and is being... Who's doing an impression of him? It wasn't Ben Stiller. It was Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller.
Yeah, they're like side by side, you know, and he's just mocking Tom Cruise. That's the one, yeah.
This one right here.
Yep. It's so funny.
Oh,
I love the ads.
I don't.
Skip in 5 seconds.
I wish I could skip all of them.
Getting
So he's pretending to be The Rock.
Yeah.
Nice.
My name is Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
That's funny.
Known as the champ. Here doing here doing some interviews. And I'll be interviewing Kevin Hart.
Hey, what's up, man? All right, cool. Good to see you, Rock. All right. What we got here? Okay, we got all the shoulder shot. We got a shot right here. Okay, cool. Hey. Boss man. Hey, let's do your thing. All right. Yeah.
What type of person were you in school? Were you a jock, huh? Ladies man, nerd, which one?
Class clown. I was a class clown.
Class clown.
Back in high school, I was a class clown. Because I was the one I was just making everybody laugh. I was the one who I would throw my voice. And be like, hey, he did the thing. And then he'd get in hey, he did the thing. And then get in trouble. You know, yeah, that was me. That was me. Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah.
I see that.
Nah, that's my turn now. I'm going to ask you a question, Rock.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
How was it working with Kevin Hart?
That's funny. I would almost think that it would be easier for Kevin Hart because he's a comedian, like being on stage and stuff like that, having to do stuff on the spot, you know. But then,
I'm sure that The Rock has done his fair bit of improv.
yeah,
They probably do that in a lot of their training, I would imagine.
yeah, I don't know. I just imagine that it would be easier for Kevin Hart to improv.
Well, whenever you're watching a video, you don't know how many run-throughs, you don't know how much practice goes into this thing, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Where we that's where we gel.
Oh, yeah.
Let me get my
Goodbye.
let me get one of the
I can't even.
That's funny. They're just fucking with each
know
other.
what it was like working with the
And then since you're on the track, you'll have to do the, it's only a couple seconds long. Just do Just do Tom Cruise and Ben Stiller.
Tom Cruise and Ben Stiller. Which one is it?
That one right there.
This one?
Yep.
Mission Impossible parody?
No, I'm good, Tom.
All right, okay.
I'm good.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, okay.
We've worked together for so long now. It's almost like, I don't know, it's kind of like we almost finish each other's sentences.
I don't think we've ever finished each other's sentences.
That's funny.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. I mean, I suppose if you're that big of a star, you don't mind if people are mocking you.
Well, I don't know. I like to think Tom Cruise is probably kind of a dick about that kind of stuff.
You think?
Just because he's such a weird fucking guy.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I haven't seen him come out with any more weird stuff in years.
Well, yeah, that's true. Maybe the Scientology department decided to, put a shorter leash on him, I guess, or something.
They were like, you need to speak up about this. Wait. No, you don't. Go back to Mission Impossible.
Yeah, right.
Did you see the new one?
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
Yeah. We saw the new one. Yeah, and it's pretty good. We've been waiting. It's a 2-part thing, though, so we've been waiting for like the next part to come out.
I didn't love the new Tom Cruise or the new Top Gun.
You didn't?
Well, it was a little more cheeky.
Yeah. I didn't love it either, but I thought that it was, and this is coming from somebody who doesn't know shit about aviation or anything else or military and stuff like that. So it's funny because the stuff that I do read is mostly people that are just
criticizing the accuracy.
Yes. They're like, oh my God, that would never happen. If you tried to pull that many G's, you'd fly right into the fucking mountain. It's bullshit. But I mean, looking at it for just what it is, it's a movie for one. Two, it's a continuance of Top Gun. And that's my whole thing is I hate remakes. I can't stand remakes. It's very rare that I will watch a remake because 9 times out of 10, it's just some new director who decided to take the original story because he thinks he can do it better and changes a whole bunch of shit and fucking ruins it.
Unless there's a lot of special effects, then CGI gets better. So sometimes for the action movies, I just like watching them for the improved CGI.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they go a little too far with the CGI though sometimes.
Really?
Like, yeah, it's cool, but it was unnecessary. You've changed the plot of the story and how things are supposed to go just because you can do something cool with a computer. Because that happens too. Like now that they can make this thing explode in a certain way or whatever, then they change a part of the story to accommodate that. It's like, they didn't just up the effects. They literally changed the story for it.
I'm not that much of a movie buff to know how they change it. Like in Spider-Man, I wouldn't know.
I've seen way too many fucking movies.
Yeah.
So I notice shit like that, but
I do care if the character becomes like he's weaker in the remake. You always pictured him as this like strong character or vice versa.
Right.
I was like, could we at least use an accurate? But what is accurate? What is accurate? Is the original accurate? That was just the way that guy saw it.
I mean, unless you've read the book, you wouldn't know if it's accurate.
Well, the book and the comic, that's still subjective because it's not 3-dimensional movie. So the actor is still chosen by the director.
Right.
Yeah.
If only they could get Stan Lee to just pick everything.
Right.
But I mean, that's not even possible now because Stan Lee's dead.
Yeah.
It is what it is, I guess.
No more cameos.
So how did this experience, though, how did it change you?
I mean, I would have to back up a little bit.
That's fine.
I have to back up. So I had gone through a pretty dramatic breakup.
It is, just so you know, it is 8:33, by the way.
Perfect.
I know you're in a time limit.
Yeah, I still have to do a workout.
Oh, great. So you had just gone through a breakup.
I had just gone through a breakup, moved out of the house that I was sharing with somebody. And, I don't remember why this was the case, but I had decided that I was going to go with the flow. Whatever the flow was and wherever it took me, I was just going to start saying yes to things that were yeses and no to things that were nos. And I wasn't going to spend a lot of time debating.
Makes sense.
So when I moved out of there, me and my daughter went and looked at one house to move into. You know, we could have looked at 50. We looked at one, and it seemed right. It felt right. It was a little higher price than I wanted, but the scenario was perfect. You know, the scenery behind us was just trees and mountains and rocks. So I was like, this is going to be more peaceful. And the way that my bedroom was set up as the only thing upstairs. So it's like the roost. It's like this sacred space, and it just overlooks all these mountains and trees. And it just had a small backyard, but they actually take care of the landscaping and stuff. I guess I don't need to go into all the reasons why the place was perfect, but it just seemed right. And I didn't look at any other place. I put money down on it. I signed on it right away.
It's just one of those things where you went and looked at it and it felt like home.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. And it was very similar. It was similar in design and layout to the house I was just moving out of. So it felt like kind of a seamless transition.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the kitchen was laid out very similarly, and everything was.
You weren't going to have to guess where to put all your mugs.
No. It was that was pretty nice, because it's very stressful to have a breakup. It's very stressful to move a house.
Right.
So anything that goes more smoothly is better for me. I don't care what dishes I have as long as they're in the cupboard. You know, when I'm in a transition, obviously you can change that stuff out when you're all settled. So that was the kind of the first thing. I was like, hey, that was great choice. And I didn't hem and haw, and I didn't research a lot, and I just went with my gut. And then I got into the house, and things really started to smooth out over the next few months. I got into a rhythm. My work was going smoothly. My house was going smoothly. My parenting, all the things were going pretty smoothly. So I guess I got bored, and my kids and I were sitting on a couch, and they were like, Dad, we know you say you're going to get a dog, but you've been saying that for 10 years. So we don't care if you get it right now, but will you tell us when you're going to get a dog, like officially? And I said, how about right now?
We want a time limit.
Yeah. We need an answer. So I got on my phone right on the couch, and I looked up. I wanted a Bernese Mountain Dog, but they shed too much.
Yeah.
So I looked up Bernedoodles. So I looked up a Bernedoodle breeder near me, and the first one popped up, and it was the Bernedoodle Hoodoodles, which is a cool name anyway. So I hit them up on Facebook and said, hey, you know, you got any litter, whatever? They said, or any litters coming up? And they said yes. And it was going to be like, I want to say 4 or 6 weeks later that they'd have one ready. So that gave my mind a little chance to catch up to the idea of saying yes to this right now.
Yeah.
So I sent this random person $500 on Venmo right at that moment and said, I'll take one.
You weren't playing around.
No. And they said I was going to be on to not the litter that was coming up, but the one right after. So it might not have been 6 weeks. It might have been 3 months actually. And then they called me or they Facebooked me back and said, hey, we had a family that couldn't do this litter. So do you want to slide into the second place? I was like, how did I go from like the second litter to now number 2 pick of the first litter? Okay. So they created a little demand with me. That's okay. So anyway, we went through with it. We went and picked out the dog at 6 weeks, and then we went and picked up the dog at 8 weeks. And I had a dog for the first time in 15 years.
Yeah.
And I've never had a dog by myself. I'd been divorced a little over 10 years. So this was another thing where I didn't look around. I didn't do research. I didn't ask anybody's opinion. I put $500 down on a random dog through a random breeder. And you know what? It was the best experience ever.
Well, yeah, your dog's awesome.
But then. So that was another flow moment where I felt like there was confirmation that I did the right thing. And then this dog comes in and just fucks up my world. He doesn't sleep, or I'm not sleeping. He's just crying. You know, he's doing all the puppy things, peeing.
Yeah, you got a baby.
I got a baby. So I didn't compute all of the fallout from this, but I think 5 weeks into having him, I hated life. I mean, I hated life. I was telling my therapist, like, this is like killing me. I'm dying. I have to have sleep. If I don't have sleep, I'm going to turn into a fucking wreck.
How old was it when you got it?
8 weeks.
Yeah.
But like 5 weeks later. So it was like 5 weeks of me not sleeping, and I was losing my mind, literally losing my mind. and I didn't know what to do with this problem I was having. So anyway, we found our groove. Me and the dog figured out when I was going to take him to the studio, when I was going to leave him home, when I was going to take him to the store, when I was going to, all of these things that other people think about, I didn't think about. I don't think, like, if you go to the grocery store with your dog in your car, is it going to chew your seats up? Who knows?
Yeah.
So do you gamble? When do you gamble? At what age? When do you leave them downstairs? When do you, so all this stuff, it was really hard for me to figure out. It was taxing on my brain. It was taking up a lot of bandwidth. And I just thought I'd made a wrong call. And so then one day I was like, I've never loved a creature, human or non-human, so much as I love this dog.
Yeah.
And this is going to be dramatic, but I'm super dramatic anyway. But I thought that was the first time I've ever really experienced like true love for a helpless creature that I was basically its lifeline, Right. I'm how it stays alive. I'm its sustenance. So I kind of felt like a mom feels like for her children.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I would say it makes absolute sense, right? Because you now have this thing that is dependent on you, right?
Completely,
and it is vulnerable, right? And so, through the path of how human nature works, I mean, it's essentially the same thing. You bought a baby,
yeah,
and now that you've gotten past the part of having to wipe its ass and get up several times a night and not getting any sleep, like, yeah, you've kind of imprinted on this thing. Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, when you say imprinted, do you mean like raised it in the way, like, what do you mean by imprinted?
Well, I mean, okay, so I'm not going to liken it to the same as when your children were born, because it's not the same thing.
I have to, though, because I've never been a mom and I never will be. This may be the closest thing that I ever get to,
right.
Feeling like what a woman would feel for her child, because yes, her body created that child. They had this bond.
Right.
And I had this thing since it was brand new, I guess. I mean,
right.
Essentially brand new, I guess, not brand new. Okay. So it's a terrible relation, the two situations. However, I felt an ultimate, I felt an extreme amount of love for this animal.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was getting back from this animal, this love that I couldn't get from a human ever. So this was like a really cathartic experience for me. And they're support animals,
Right.
They're support creatures. Like, they make us,
right. And
they're our best friends.
Yeah. But that makes sense though, because I mean, dogs are innocent. They don't know anything except, hey,
eat
and
sleep,
love. Poop and love.
Yeah. They do sleep a lot.
I mean, that's all they know,
Yeah.
but they're very good at all of those things, right? I mean, they
show up consistently the same way all the time.
Exactly. Yes. They're very
unconditional.
Yep. Unconditional, and they're consistent.
Yep.
And they're not like Machiavellian or anything. They love without expectation.
Right.
I mean, obviously if you're beating the shit out of your dog every day, then you're going to give it a bit of a complex, but in the general sense, I mean, they love you. They don't care what you do. So yeah, it's makes perfect sense to me why, you would have the attachment that you now have for this animal.
I may have an emergency phone call from my daughter since she called twice. So hold on one second.
Yeah, no problem.
Hello. What time?
Yeah.
And so when they call twice, I get nervous.
Oh, because that means they actually need to get through.
Yeah, and she just wanted to know about a ride to work tomorrow. So, yeah. So anyway, back to the dog. I felt a huge amount of grief and then I felt a lot of relief from having this animal. And it was like just a flow state choice that I made. Looked at one breeder, made one phone call, just paid for it, and then ended up following through with it. And it turned out to be a really, really huge challenge, but it not only increased my capacity for what I could handle, but it also showed me more about love, which was really, really, really a cool thing.
It was cool.
And then there was another thing.
I should get a dog.
I told you that my therapist was helping me through the dog issues.
Yeah.
So I had decided, I had done talk therapy for so many, many years in the past. I was just tired of talk therapy because I felt like they'll take my $150, $160 every week to hear me yap about whatever problems I have. And then we just talk in circles. Mm-hmm. Maybe I talk my way into a solution here or there, but it just felt like a lot of spinning wheels.
Yeah.
And I wasn't improving. So I had an experience where I went to a somatic therapist. Have you ever done that?
No. What is that?
A somatic therapist basically just gets you out of your head into your body.
Oh,
so
okay.
You can't think your way through everything. You got to feel your way through everything. And that's like a foreign concept for a lot of us dudes, for sure. Because we're logical.
I don't know. It makes me think of more like not like hippy dippy, but like a guru or something.
Which you've probably said that about me for 5 years. That there's a little hippy dippy.
No.
Oh,
I don't think you're hippy dippy at all.
At all?
No.
Oh, man.
That or I just don't see it. I don't know.
I love to earth, No, go ground.
I mean, I know people that are into all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and some of it, like the more I hear about it and learn about it, like, yeah, it sounds kind of cool actually, but I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out meditation. So the fuck do I know about any of that stuff?
Meditation, the one key ingredient to all of our success, and it's like the hardest thing to do because you have to actually be still.
Yeah.
And I hate being still. And that means like still in your thoughts, still in your motion, still with your body. Man, that's really, really challenging for me.
Yeah, and that's what I struggle with. I can be physically still, and I can go days without talking to anybody. But it's shutting my brain off and being able to just focus on that one thing or not think about anything at all. Very difficult for me.
That's why people drink.
Yeah, probably.
I mean,
yeah.
It helped me a lot. I just told anybody that asked. I mean, I turn on the TV and I drink, and all of a sudden there's not a care in the world.
Yep.
I'm just totally zoned out like a zombie. Well, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't do it on my own. Anyway, the whole therapist point that I brought up was, after I got this dog, I don't remember okay, I do remember. So there was this other podcaster that I had become friends with, and I had posted a picture of me and him because we had coffee one day, and another somatic therapist or somatic healer, or whatever you want to call her, she actually saw that picture of us and said, she DM'd me and said, how do you know my friend? So we got to talking, then we got to hanging out a couple of times. She lived in Canada. So we hung out a few times, and she was doing some somatic sessions with me, and I really, really loved it. It was very, very different, very uncomfortable at first because you're very vulnerable, and there's some tears in there. And so I decided I wanted to look up trauma therapists, somatic therapists that are local so I could get hooked up with something on a more regular basis. And so I typed in like trauma therapist near me. First girl that came up. Sent her an email. This is what I'm looking to do. She said, perfect. This is exactly what I do. When do you want to meet? And I've been going there for like 3 months now, maybe a little longer. And it's been transformative, like life-changing. But I didn't look at other therapists. I didn't ask around. I didn't get a recommendation. So like all of these things, my body's just told me, yes, let's do this. Yes, let's do that. Which I guess leads us back to 30 minutes ago talking about theater. I received a phone call from the director of the Lake City Playhouse. She had asked me, she just said, we need more male auditioners in this play. male auditioners. That's not what I meant to say. We need more male actors in this play. We haven't had enough response or whatever. Will you come and audition for this play, which was Oliver? I didn't know a lick about Oliver. I didn't know what I was auditioning for. I just said, okay, tell me what am I doing? What do I do? And she said, just come and sing a song on stage. Well, I had sang and gigged on stage for like 3 years.
Yeah.
So I was like, sweet, I can do that. What song? Any song.
Yeah, I've seen
Perfect.
I've seen a couple of your bar performances on your Facebook page.
Oh yeah. This was a little different. This was terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh, this was awful. So
yeah, this is way more of a production than just
like
holding onto a guitar in front of a bunch of drunk people.
Yeah, no, this is 7 critics staring at you.
Right. Yeah.
And you're singing a cappella on a stage. I mean, it was terrifying. So I said, yes, I'll sing that, or I'll go and sing a song. And so I went in there to the audition room and signed up on the spot as a walk-in, which apparently I guess it offends people if a walk-in. If a walk-in,
if a walk-in like gets
a part or even gets, to go ahead of somebody else. But
right.
Since I was friends with the director for the last 20 years, I don't know, they pushed me right in. So I came into the green room and they were like, okay, go on in, And so I went up there, and the song that I was going to sing, I don't know any theatrical songs at this point, right? Like I know nothing, but I wanted to sing something kind of relevant.
Yeah.
So I was going to sing this song that we actually sing to our kids at night, to put them to bed each night, which was, I don't even know what the song is called. I heard it from my ex-wife one time. It was like, Casey will waltz with the strawberry blonde and the band played on. He glides across the floor with the girl he adored and the band played on. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
That sounds familiar, actually. Yeah.
But his brain was so loaded he nearly exploded. The poor girl will shake with alarm. So I was going to sing the song.
I would have no idea what the hell the name of it is, but it does sound familiar. Yeah.
I didn't sing it.
You didn't sing that.
I didn't sing it, no. So I get on stage and I'm like, all I could think of was there was like these 2 songs that I had learned in band in high school off the Little Mermaid soundtrack.
Nice.
And so I sang them like 2 clips from Under the Sea and Kiss the Girl.
Mm.
And I didn't even know half the song. I didn't even know a quarter of the song. So we're talking about pretty horrible audition in my mind. They saw it differently because they were looking to me for a specific part, and whatever I did up there in that moment, they were like, he can do that part.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think as far as the singing goes, they're just looking for some semblance of talent, vocal control, and then
maybe, but they also wanted that they needed an older gentleman to play this part of Fagin, which was the manipulator of the little kid street workers.
Right. Yeah, he runs the crew.
Yeah. And so I don't think they didn't have a guy that was a good fit for that specifically until I got there, I guess. So I got the call 10 o'clock that night after callbacks, which that's a whole nother story in itself. Callbacks was an experience. Maybe I should just tell you about callbacks because that was, so I sang for like 37 seconds up there, these two little clips, and they said, come back to callbacks in 3 hours at this other place. I walk into callbacks. There's people lining the hallway, all for callbacks. So I'm asking everybody that I can see, like, what are we doing here? What do we do here? What do we do here? Finally, this older gentleman says, I think we're going to go into this room when they call us and we're going to sing this song. So he tells me the song, and it's from the play. It's called Reviewing the Situation.
Yeah.
And it's Fagin's song. You saw it. It's a 5.5 minute song where I'm by myself on stage.
Yeah,
so
you were singing forever by yourself.
Yeah.
And I was one of the first things I thought of was like, God, that must have took a hell of a beating to try and memorize that whole thing.
It was.
Because that was a lot.
And then because every verse is so similar, it's hard to remember which is which.
Yep.
Until you get the movements on the stage and they kind of like correspond.
Oh yeah, so
that helps.
You're physically linking the stage with this portion of the song.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So he tells me we're supposed to sing the song, so I put my AirPods in and I sit in this hallway and I just listen to the song like 30 times. That's as much as I've ever heard it. They finally call us into this room. There's like 30 of us that they call in, and I'm in the back and I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And finally, this lady speaks up and she says, we're going to see who can dance. We're going to see who can dance. I came in here to sing Reviewing the Situation, damn it. And I've listened to this thing 30 times. And now I've got to dance. So this choreographer teaches us this little routine.
Oh, well, at least they had a choreographer then.
I was in the back of 30 people. I couldn't even see the choreographer's legs. I had no idea what she was doing.
Yeah, but if it had been me and there was no choreographer, I would have ended up just doing
Pee Wee Herman's.
Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
I knew you would. I'd do some kind of MC Hammer or Young MC routine.
Yeah, that'd have been good too. Can't touch this.
Yep. Anyway, I didn't
doesn't work as good without the parachute pants.
Mortified in that room. Mortified. I was absolutely like, how can I sneak out of this room? I was sweating. I was way out of my comfort zone, way out of my element. And there wasn't a part of me that said, you need to stay in here and stick this out.
Right.
There wasn't. I was like, how do I get out of here?
Yeah. And
then I just kept going through it. My face started to hurt because I was fake smiling, pretending I was having a good time. And finally, they break us down. So they break up the 30 people and they have us go in chunks of like 4 and 5. So now I'm out in the open. At least I can see the choreographer. And I blacked out at this point. I can't remember any part. I can't remember any part of Dancing with the 5 people. But then after that, I got through it and I was like, whoa, I'm still alive. Okay, that wasn't fun at all. I don't want to ever do that again. And then after the 5, they called me over to a keyboard with this other older gentleman, and we had to sing Reviewing the Situation, just like he said we would, in front of these 30 people.
So it wasn't until the next day?
Not the next day. It was 3 hours after the first audition. We had callbacks.
Okay.
And this is a very long process in callbacks that is just torturous.
That's still 3 hours, though, after spending however long listening to it for 30 times trying to memorize it.
No. Okay. So after auditions, we had a 3-hour gap. I didn't know we were singing that song until I got 2 callbacks 3 hours later.
Oh, okay.
So then I had 1 hour in the hallway to listen to that song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying that you went and listened to it 30 times
No.
And then you had to go do all the dancing, which that's crazy because you're probably listening to other music while you're doing the dancing.
Oh, we were totally. Reviewing the Situation was gone.
Right.
Gone.
So then by the time you get to where you actually got to sing it, it's like, fuck, what the hell is the song?
And just to throw a little wrench in the mix, they had us sing the last verse of the song.
Oh, yeah.
So I had heard the first verse like 100, not 100 times, but that was what stuck in my mind. The last verse, I didn't know a lick.
You're not starting at the beginning or even in the middle. It's like, just give us the last part of the song. Oh,
so
okay.
We both did equally okay at it. It was not terrible. We had to do it with a keyboardist right there. Anyway, so I really just thought that audition was a fun experience. It was torturous. I learned a little bit. It pushed me, and I would never be called back. It was like I didn't get the part. It
does suck being pushed out of your comfort zone, but then afterwards you're like, oh, that's interesting. That's cool.
I can tell you that after this whole process, I still can't dance.
Oh, that's fine.
I can't dance.
I can't fucking dance either. If you get me drunk enough, though, I'll do it.
Oh, I'll do it too. But that's different. Hip gyrations are totally different than choreographed dances. I mean, you saw me. I didn't really have to dance in the part that you watched, right? I mean, there was a little tiny bit.
I wouldn't say you guys really danced at all. I mean, it's choreographed moving around the stage.
Yes.
Like picking up a hat and flipping it up on your head and stuff like that. But I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily call it dancing.
Right.
But then again, when you say dancing, I think of like doing the cha-cha,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. But still having to learn all the moves of moving around the stage and all that stuff, because yes, it's a choreographed part of it that goes along with the song. Sure. That's probably not the easiest thing to do.
Right. It's
and
not.
It's a lot. It was a lot for you to memorize.
Well, yeah, I had 14 pages of lines plus, choreography and stuff, which, in reviewing
your whole part was only 14 pages.
I don't know. I just took a shot in the dark.
Oh.
I had one of the biggest parts.
Yeah.
I was going to say about reviewing the situation. When I first got up there to run through, I didn't have the choreographer at first. So they just said, we're going to have you do some motions to that song. Just do your own thing in rehearsals. So I I was feeling kind of drunk one day. I wasn't drunk, but I was feeling just loopy.
Yeah.
And so I just played. I just went up there and was like, I was just running around and doing like stupid shit. And the director said, that's it. You just do that.
Right.
I was like,
but that's
I was just messing around.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's probably what got it for you, is because you were willing to just be silly and to just do whatever. You're not rigid and frozen.
Right.
And that's a thing.
Some of it was mine.
Yeah. I would think that's a thing that they're looking for, is somebody who's loosey goosey and, can be directed and not all, not deer in the headlights the whole time.
Loosey goosey.
Yeah.
That boy is loosey goosey.
Loosey goosey.
Yeah. It was a life-changing experience because it was so hard and so new, and it took so much time and money. It took a lot of money because I couldn't work as much while I was doing the rehearsals.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't change it for the world. It was like one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life, ever. And yeah, everybody asks me, so when are you doing your next one? It's like, man.
Yeah, when are you doing your next one?
I cannot top that experience, And even when I talked to a girl the other day, I was shooting her headshot at my studio, and she's on her fourth play now. She's entering into her fourth play in 2024, I guess. Like, it's a lot.
Their fourth one this year.
Right.
Not like at all.
In a row. Like, the girl, she's like, I just need a huge break after this. And so I was asking her, like, what was your favorite play of the 4 that you've done? Because I watched her in a couple of them. And she said, nothing will ever touch the experience of Oliver. Nothing. And we all felt that way. I mean, it was wild. And maybe it's because it was the first play back at LCP. And so there was this like weird, crazy new energy.
Yeah.
Or something. But our crew was so incredibly tight. So it wasn't like I just got an experience out of it. I got this like new family,
Right.
So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I could see that being a thing, because it almost closed down and, it was on the verge of being gone forever. And then, whatever transpired to turn that around, everything happened. And now it's, it's a big deal. Like, it's our first playback and everything's, kosher.
They could use a lot more ticket sales for Jekyll and Hyde, which is coming up. I'm going to it on September 28th.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a heavy, heavy music play. And it's supposed to be incredibly haunting and cool. And I'm really excited to see it. But like I said, they're having a hard time getting the tickets sold.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because of the type of play it is. I mean, there's like 15-minute songs in this play.
Yeah, like that could be a thing. Yeah.
But Oliver like practically sold out every show, and that could be the novelty, or maybe we just scared everybody away. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it could also be another part of that thing where, it almost closed down, but it didn't, and it was able to save a life.
Right.
Let's everybody buy tickets.
Right.
Yeah. All right. I don't know. I'll look it up though. I wouldn't mind going. I saw the poster for the Jekyll and Hyde thing coming soon, and I was like, oh, that looks interesting. I like
the story. The story is cool.
Right. I enjoyed Oliver.
Yeah.
And
don't you love that intimate setting?
Yeah,
I love how small that theater is.
Yes, that was actually pretty rad because that's not what I was expecting. Like, right. I thought it was an
auditorium.
Bigger. Yeah, I thought it was a lot bigger than that. But then when we got there, and it's decent size, but
that's
it's not,
what she said.
It's decent size, Brady, but it's not huge.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with that.
It's average.
No, it's a good theater though. And the fact that they got that nice AC system, I'm sure makes a world of difference.
Were you guys freezing out there?
No.
Because we were good on stage. Like I didn't sweat at all.
No, it was...
That's not true. That's not true at all. I did sweat a little bit.
You sweated a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, but I wasn't like dripping like I thought I would with that beanie on.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I thought about that too. I was like, how the fuck is he moving around, singing and dancing and all that with that beanie on his head? He's got to be friggin' roasted.
That raggedy shirt, though, never got washed one time during the whole production. Because it would have fallen apart. Yeah. So I used this like spray stuff to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
But
just hit it with some Febreze after each.
Yeah. I was like, can we please just light this thing on fire afterwards? But it was just the thing was just rags. I mean, it was just like it was hard to put on because there were so many holes in the sweater.
Yeah. Well, did they make all the?
No. Little kids in China did.
Oh, okay.
Or Taiwan, one of the two.
And I guess that makes sense why they'd fall apart.
They're on a budget, shoestring budget. They're on a child labor budget.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you'd fucking have to be, I guess, after dealing with all that, trying to keep the place open.
Well, and it's a nonprofit, you know.
Right.
Which actually,
they made it
I don't
happen.
quite understand. Nonprofits can still be very successful and people can get paid a lot of money in nonprofits, right? There's just no profits.
Yes.
So the money is all dispersed.
So in my layman's terms understanding of how any of that crap works, yes. So a nonprofit organization, you have like employees, right? You can have volunteers who just work for nothing. They just give you their time, but then you also have employees who do make a salary, but then that goes into a portion of whatever proceeds they take in. But at the end of the day, because it's nonprofit, every dollar that gets taken in has to go toward something, and it can't go towards building some crazy freaking monetary empire for a bunch of shareholders. So you might have assets and stuff like the building itself and costumes, lighting, all that kind of stuff, but it just means that your budget at the end of the year has to be completely spent. So whatever isn't spent on the few employees, like the janitor that cleans every night or whatever, all
it
of
has
that
to
money,
be publicized too, right? It has to be public record.
I believe so. Yeah. All that money has to get spent, and
Right.
it has to go towards keeping the place open and running. Essentially is what I know of how a nonprofit works. I could be absolutely fucking wrong. No idea, but that's
I'm
my
used to
general
being wrong.
understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my experience with the theater. It was incredible. I want to do it again. And then when I got back to work right after the theater, I just had to, put my balls to the wall and work twice as hard as I did before doing the play
to make up that income.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was very, very busy this summer.
I bet.
But now when it slows down, I'm going to audition for there's School of Rock, which could be cool.
Oh, like the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. There's Miracle on 34th Street.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, at least it'd be in the winter.
Yeah.
The one I really wanted to do
that
was...
would be rad, dude. Miracle on 34th Street, like during the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
That would be great.
Well,
I would totally go to that.
It can happen.
Yeah.
It can happen.
But wait, are you going to play Santa Claus? Or
I actually don't know all the parts, but I'm sure they say there's a lot of male roles.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
And then they're doing Shakespeare abridged, the complete works of Shakespeare.
Jesus.
So 3 actors are doing all 37 Shakespearean plays in an hour and a half.
Jesus.
So they're changing characters, and I mean, I think that would be a blast.
Yeah.
I wanted to audition for that.
That'd be some tough work, though.
There's I Never Saw Another Butterfly, something like that. I think that's what it is. And that's a straight play, which I heard rumors that Lake City Playhouse is the only local playhouse that does straight plays, a non-musical.
Oh, so no musical
Right,
scenes or anything.
right.
It's just like watching a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be really
Yeah,
cool.
that'd be crazy.
I think it's dramatic and serious.
Yeah.
And there was another one, but I can't think of it right now.
That'd be weird. I would go to that just to experience it, because I wonder what the impact would be with no
Music.
with no music.
No stimuli.
Right.
Yep.
Nothing in the background, no dancing
Yep.
around, because when I think of a play, I think that you're always going to have musical parts and
Correct.
stuff like that.
And you got lights and things are popping and happening.
Yeah,
So I
that'd
think
be
that
weird.
could be really cool because I love to be dramatic, I love to be dramatic in my real life too. But maybe I'd be less dramatic in my real life if I was more dramatic on stage.
There you go.
It's a theory. It's a
Get yourself a
theory.
dramatic outlet in the theater, right? And then the rest of your life will be butter.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's a great concept.
Well, I mean, it's like when I, sometimes when I get frustrated or, pissed off or whatever, like I'll go pick up my guitar and just start playing, right? I mean, it's an outlet. It's creative expression. It's whatever. It's just a place to put all that energy. That's in a positive manner, I guess. So you could look at it like that. Sure.
That's why I said most people should find some sort of outlet.
Yeah.
Some sort of, I keep saying creative. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to be able to do art.
Well, yeah, it doesn't.
There's different expressions for different brains.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily have to be creative. I mean, even if your thing is just sitting down and playing checkers or chess, or
it's got to be something that puts you into your flow state, into your natural state of contentment and joy.
Yeah. Well, me and Charlie on the last one, we were just talking about like ADHD and stuff like that. So you could say that somebody who has ADHD, they're not in their flow state, and the state that they're always in is all over the place, right? So once they find that thing that calms their brain, puts them in their flow state, then they're fine. So I mean, emotionally, essentially that's kind of the same thing with everybody. You got to find that thing that when you're all over the place, that levels you out, takes your mind off of everything that's going on, but also allows you a space to like think and just work through stuff.
And that makes me think more of just like a positive outlet. Because I was just talking to this same actress that I told you Oliver was her favorite by far. Mm-hmm. She said, and we agreed, that we like to sit in front of the TV and play on our phones at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it puts you in like that drool mode. Mm-hmm. You don't know what's on either screen. And it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because you're not thinking about any stresses or worries, and you're in a different kind of flow state. But it's not necessarily a positive, because you're not doing anything positive for your brain, your emotions, your spirituality.
It's not productive in any way.
It's not. So if you had something else that you could find that would put you in that flow state that was productive and more positive, I guess that'd be cool for everybody.
Yeah. But
what's yours? Music?
Yeah. Mine's music. So
mine's not
playing guitar or trying to learn a different instrument, even if I never can. I had a banjo actually for a while, and I tried to learn how to play it, but I already have shitty dexterity enough. So I don't know. Some people have told me like, "Oh man, you're really great. Well, how long have you been playing?" And I tell them I've been playing since I was like 5 years old, and they're like, "Wow, that's amazing." I'm like, I think I suck. I can make it through some songs.
Talking about the guitar or the banjo?
The guitar.
Oh, okay. You
sorry, yeah, I jumped back and forth, but
ding 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 ding.
But when it comes to playing the banjo, I don't have the dexterity for the finger picking. I could not do it. I tried quite a bit to like figure it out, and it just didn't have it. And so I ended up selling it for like $300. But
which means you probably don't pick a lot on your guitar then either, right?
It depends. It depends on the song. If it's an easy picking pattern, then yeah, I can learn it. But if it's something like Travis picking or something, fuck no, I'll never get that. And then I have to figure out how to just transpose it into chords with a little bit of...
I do that too.
Moving my fingers around to make it sound like I'm hitting more than I am.
Just simplifying the song.
Yeah, basically is what I'm doing. I'm simplifying it for my simple ass.
Do you ever see like on guitar tablature, you can simplify the chord progressions too? Sometimes it can be a bit wonky. Yeah. You'll just hit simplify and it'll just change your chords to a little more. I mean, so it's not completely accurate, but it's close enough.
Right. And I tend to do that anyway on my own. So, which is it's kind of nice because I've been doing it long enough and I've been learning little tricks like that for, simplifying things, that even though I'm moving it to an easier version for me to play, it's also teaching me how to hit different things and what all these different chords are. So I've been trying more and more as of late to, instead of simplify it, to try and just learn the actual chords to it. And, but simplifying it at first helped me just to get there. And now I'm moving on to more of the progressed stuff.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
But even simplifying, depending on how your brain works, can teach you something. So it's not all bad.
No, I liked what you said about picking up a new instrument. I haven't thought to do anything like that ever. I mean, it'd be kind of cool just to pick up like a brass instrument or something, or a wind instrument that I've never done before.
Yeah.
Could be extremely obnoxious for the neighbors though.
Maybe. I have a whole set of harmonicas that I have barely ever touched, taking them out of the case. I've been wanting to learn harmonica for quite a long time. I bought the rig that goes around your neck.
Yeah.
So it holds it so you can play while you play guitar.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to take a lot of figuring stuff out for me, but I'll get there. Hopefully someday I'll at least be able to do a little bit so I can just add a little something to a song.
You can even just do a simple. It sounds awesome mixed in.
Right. Yeah.
And then if you
just
could
a
do
few
a
little blows on it.
do a little foot drum at the same time.
Yep.
Huh?
I've thought about that too. I've thought about adding a foot drum or something.
That'd be cool.
There's a thing you can get, and it's like an electronic drum set, but there's no drums. It's these 2 sticks, and then you get 2 foot sensors, and so one on each foot, and then you hook them to your phone through Bluetooth, and you can change the kind of drum set and what each sensor hits if you want and stuff like that. And I don't know how the hell it does it, but it knows that if you swing the right stick this way, you're hitting tom number 1.
Wow.
If you swing it here, you're hitting tom 3. If you swing the left stick up here, you're hitting a hi-hat. If you swing it down here, you're hitting a snare. I have no idea how it does it, but it's awesome. And I've thought about buying that just for the foot sensors so that I can play, the bass drum while I'm playing my guitar.
That'd be wild.
The only thing that I worry about is like the latency, like how well does it work? But I got to spend the $200 or whatever it is and actually buy it to actually play with it.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like a ton of fun, and eventually I'll do it. Just don't have it in me at the moment.
That's what she said.
Right? I've put all my money into the podcast, so.
This is your baby.
Yeah.
This is your puppy.
Essentially.
This is your theater. It's your stage.
Yep. Right now I'm just playing with all the AI stuff.
I'm not playing at all.
That's the thing though, is I want to learn how to write songs. And they don't necessarily even have to be like hits. I just want to learn how to write like a decent song that has a reasonable flow to it. And
I went to a songwriter's workshop. You could go to something like that.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that, but I don't know any like around here. I need to Google.
It was local. The one I went to was at the Bartlett when it was open in Spokane on Sprague.
Oh,
it's like Sprague and Brown. It's called the Bartlett. It was a super tiny venue, very awesome. The acoustics were amazing. I got to go to a songwriter's workshop there, and they would like put us in groups and have us try and write a song in groups and be collaborative, and then take some of our ideas by ourselves. They would teach us how to write a chorus or how to pick a chord progression. And then at the very end, they had us, when we had to develop a chorus of our own, we were given the option to write our whole song and to perform it. So I had a poem that is, you've heard my original song.
Yeah.
Mad as Hell.
Yeah, you played that for us.
Yeah, so that one.
I still need to get you in here to record it though.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. Okay, put it on the calendar. I'll do it.
Yeah?
I'll do it. I'll practice it.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't played it in a bit.
All right. Start practicing it and say what? How long do you think you need? Couple weeks?
Yeah,
a month?
Realistically, a couple weeks is all. But we could do a month, and then I'd have it like perfect.
All right, so let's say a month. So I'll put something down.
That's about what I had for the play too. So
okay,
and I didn't think it was going to come together, and then finally at the very end, it does come together.
Sweet.
And my song, I have to condition my voice for it too, because there is a couple parts where I go pretty high. Mm-hmm. A little higher than my register on a normal day when I'm not singing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it'll be fun. I'd love that.
All right.
And I've said yes before, but my yeses mean something different now. They mean yes.
Well, yeah. I mean, you said yes before, but
like that's a good idea.
I just figure, we get busy and all that stuff. And it's probably the last thing you're thinking about. You got tons of other shit to do, but
that'd be an experience I haven't had before. I'd love it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to do that though, I'll schedule something for a month from now.
Maybe I will send you the song so that you can learn it on guitar.
Maybe. I'd be willing to. Yeah, I can give it a shot.
It might be cool to like actually be able to sing it without having to play it.
Yeah. I can try. If you send it to me,
It's super
I'll,
easy.
Yeah.
I'm a rhythm guitarist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Send it to me, and then I'll see if I can learn it, and I'll pick a date a month from now, and I'll text that to you. And then if anything, I have this all set up. I actually bought a special cable and stuff, and then this is all wireless.
Mm-hmm.
So I can get this set up to where, is your guitar acoustic electric?
Yeah.
So we can plug both of ours in, and we can both play on it.
Cool. That sounds awesome.
And we'll just jam together. That'd be cool.
You're 0% there.
Oh, yeah. That's what you get with Windows updates that you didn't ask for, and it ruins all your shit because you're in the middle of doing something and it decides to do it anyway.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. Yeah, you got it going.
I have a workout.
Yeah, we're past your time. Yeah, thanks for coming in and telling me all about your play experience and all that, man. I appreciate it. It was good to hear. And I was so curious about how all that went, and because you've told me some stuff about where your headspace is at, but I really wanted to dig into it and hear it.
Well, and I didn't, go into all of the nitty gritties of how challenging it was during, the first parts of it when I was learning, but there was some gruesome parts where I wanted to quit.
Yeah.
It's really not easy for somebody that's never done it before.
I'm sure.
Maybe it's not easy for anybody. I'm not sure.
I'm sure there's some people it's easy for.
Maybe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We can dive back into that when we come to record your song.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Thank you, everybody, for listening and or watching. Appreciate all of you. Have a great week and keep on grinding. Bye, everybody.